In the quiet countryside of Staffordshire, England, an area known as Cannock Chase became the center of fear and horror between 1965 and 1967. During this period, a series of tragic events unfolded that shocked the nation. Several young girls, aged between 5 and 7, were abducted and murdered. The first 2 victims disappeared in 1965 from the Birmingham area, and their bodies were later discovered in the wooded surroundings of Cannock Chase. This desolate region, once a beauty spot popular with picnicking families, would become known as the Valley of Fear. The case gained momentum in August 1967 when 7-year-old Christine Darby was taken from outside her home. Her body was found the next day in Cannock Chase, having been sexually assaulted and strangled with her own tights. This horrifying crime sparked one of the largest manhunts in British history. Every available officer from Staffordshire and West Midlands police forces were deployed, assisted by hundreds of volunteer police and dog units. They scoured the forests, paths, and fields for clues while thousands of vehicles were checked and hundreds of people questioned. Raids were carried out in factories and workshops, but the murderers seemed to vanish without a trace. News of the murders dominated newspapers, radio, and television. Schools were tense as children arrived late because their parents had been out searching for their missing sister or friend. Mothers clutched their children close as they walked through the streets, too terrified to let them out of their sight. By the end of August, over 2,000 men and women had been questioned and 130 cars searched. Yet the killer remained at large. Parents were warned to keep their children indoors, and if they ventured out, to do so in groups. People were afraid to walk alone in the countryside, convinced the killer could be lurking in the shadows. Even cemeteries were searched as it was feared the body of one of the missing girls could have been placed in a grave. But their efforts were in vain. The investigation made little progress until August 1968, when a 9-year-old girl was abducted and sexually assaulted but managed to escape. Her assailant was later identified as Raymond Leslie Morris, a married factory worker with no major criminal record. He had been driving a van which matched the description of one seen near the crime scene, and was known to have had an argument with his wife on the night of the attack. However, despite the evidence against him, Morris was not charged with the earlier murders. The case took another turn in January 1969 when 2 men claimed they had seen Morris with 2 girls matching the description of those who had gone missing. One of the girls was said to be carrying a doll, which added weight to the theory that the abductions were not the work of a lone wolf, but of a disturbed individual preying on young victims. Further evidence emerged when a woman came forward claiming Morris had exposed himself to her while she was out walking. This led to a search of his home where several women's nylon tights and underwear were found. Ballpoint marks on the packaging of some of these items were later found to match those on the tights used to strangle Christine Darby. The net was closing in on Morris, but he was not finished yet. On April 4, 1969, he was arrested and charged with the 1967 murder of Christine Darby. The trial began on June, and after deliberating for only 2 hours, the jury found him guilty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the recommendation that he serve a minimum of 15 years before being eligible for parole. While in prison, Morris was diagnosed as suffering from depressive psychosis and was transferred to Rampon Psychiatric Hospital. He died there in 1991 at the age of 65. Although Morris was never legally convicted for the other 2 murders, the police were convinced he was responsible for them as well. The Cannock Chase murders had a profound impact on the community, leaving a permanent scar on those who lived there. It was one of the most terrifying chapters in British criminal history, remembered for the fear it instilled and the relentless pursuit of justice that finally brought the killer to account. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more historical crime content. Thank you for watching.